This is my theory presentation on my movie Selena. So the summary of Selena is this about a young woman who wants to make it as a Tejano singer, which is a style of Mexican music, normally upbeat and very just dance worthy. She does it despite of being minority, and she eventually becomes one of the most famous singers in Mexico, and being known in America as well. She faces many challenges such as racism, and she gets hatred from her fans because she is Mexican / Spanish, but cannot speak Spanish until she gets older. She never learned Spanish when she was younger. She also faces inequality because many people look at her and think she is poor. She also faces being a minority. Again, she's Mexican. Yolanda Salvier kills her, and she was the president of her fan club, and she was one of her greatest friends. Like, she was her manager for a little bit, and she ends up killing her because she found out that her family found out that Yolanda was stealing from Selena, and then she just goes to her hotel room and proceeds to shoot her. Structural functionism. The movie shows functionism when Selena's murderer decides to kill herself after Selena's family found out she was stealing from them. Another structural functionism is Selena getting judged by the clerk for being Mexican and looking poor, because that is how most Mexicans are treated today. Conflict theory. Marx's conflict theory best represents my movie because it is about the struggle between the rich and the poor, and since Selena is Mexican, she's seen as poor. For example, the store clerk at the boutique thought that Selena was poor, so Selena needed a dress to go to a big event. And the store clerk did not know who she was and was like, well, maybe you wouldn't be able to afford this dress. It's $800. Maybe try down in a couple different stores. Then one of the ladies in the store recognizes Selena, and there's this big thing, oh, Selena, Selena, Selena. And afterwards, the store clerk was like, oh, did you want to try that dress on? And she was like, yeah, no, it don't fit. We don't like it. Here you go. So she just kind of just pushes her to the side because she thinks she's poor. The primary conflict that best describes my movie is inequality. The movie shows inequality because the movie is about a Mexican girl who just wants to become a singer, as I mentioned before. And as I mentioned before, the clerk treating her different because she's Mexican, and she's being judged by her fans for not speaking Spanish. Symbolism. People in the movie use symbols to represent ideas, concepts, or common understanding. So they use a white rose in the movie to symbolize the fallen star. The white rose is thrown on the stage that Selena performed, the last stage she performed at, after a gunshot is heard, symbolizing that she is dead. So the white rose would be her. Another symbol in the movie is Selena wearing a sequin bralette, and it represents her being different than most singers because at the time most singers wouldn't wear that. So that is like the bralette. It's got little sequins. Okay, so the culture in the movie is the Spanish/Mexican culture. Spanish culture is different from American culture in many ways, and I'm going to name just a few. So one thing that is different in the cultures is the music. American music is normally like sad, or it can be upbeat, but normally it's got a bigger meaning behind it. Where Tejano music, which is a certain type of Mexican music, as I said before, is dance worthy. It's very upbeat, and it literally means nothing. For example, this song literally means, okay, so it's called La Vaca, and it literally just means the cow. The cow moo, like the same cow moo. That's all that means. And that's how the whole song goes on. And another example of the difference is food. So these would be the tacos in Mexico. They'd be the soft corn tortilla with like steak, cilantro, onions, and then these would be American tacos, which is meat, like ground beef, lettuce, and cheese, and then in a hard shell. Some more cultural differences. One big cultural difference is the people. Most Mexicans are hard workers and tend to work only for their family and are happy by smaller things, while most Americans are not happy unless they have the newest electronics and normally do not spend time with family. Another big thing is family. So in American, we normally don't have big families. Some people do, but most Americans do not. But in Mexican culture, they have huge families, and even people that aren't their family, they're calling cousin. The sociological topic I chose was work, poverty, and welfare. I chose the topic because so many people from Mexico moved to America just because they have poverty there and the lack of work. And here they find jobs and work for basically nothing. Social problems. One of the biggest problems in Mexico is the drainage problem and the trash that's going into the water. Another big problem in Mexico is military abuse. The military is abusing their people for simple things, like not even breaking laws. They're just abusing them just because. And that is my presentation.